So I want to take you on a quick path because I know you just came back from training. You said, and I don't want to misquote you, but I think you said something in the realm of you go from being a bad bitch to changing 15 diapers a day. It really changes your life, and I guess that you just did that since you're back from training. I don't know if you changed any diapers recently, but I think that that's like a really, first of all, I think that people that know your story or don't know your story, especially in the last year and a half, 2 years, is an unbelievable one because even up to that point, you had such an unbelievable life. And now in the past year and a half, you've become a mother. And
Yes.
so, I mean, I know you've been asked a lot about this, obviously recently,
Mhm.
but what's it like, in this past year and a half, almost 2 years, I imagine, of really being a mother and also being, one of the baddest bitches on the planet.
um, well, okay. So for your listeners who don't know, I actually I became the guardian of my niece and nephew, Kyla, who is 8, and Emery, who is 2, and I'm actually in the process of adopting them now.
Wow.
So big. That's a big breaking news, I guess, kind of. But really, the last 2 years, the last year and a half of my life have been, well, my whole life has been a roller coaster, but I would say that I'm getting to the point now where when I first got them, it was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like, I don't, you don't have kids, right?
I don't.
Yeah. So it's like all of a sudden you're in charge of these two lives. And you go from, I mean, my life was very shallow and very empty. And like, I would wake up, I would eat, I would train, I would lay out by my pool, hang out with my dogs, like have Taco Tuesday with my friends, um, go to an arcade or do like go mini golf, just do stupid stuff all day long, and then train again, and then eat again, and then sleep and repeat over and over and over and over again, and then go win fights and then make money. And that was it. That was my whole existence. Um, but it was really, really empty. And I didn't know that. Like, you don't know, you can't miss what you don't know, I guess. And, tragedy hit. And my mom had custody of the kids. She had a stroke in 2019. She's recovering. But then um, in May of last year, her husband, who had been taking care of her, taking care of Kyla, taking care of Emery, he very suddenly passed away. And my mom was, still recovering from her stroke, still struggling a little bit with memory and mental and hand, like physical coordination, just things like that. Couldn't drive yet. So it was kind of like a do or die situation. Like, I'm sure my family could have rallied and all taken care of them, but my grandparents are getting older. My mom is getting older, and I love them. I had no idea how much I love them until I got them, but it was kind of just like, all right, we're doing this. So we packed up and we moved. I drove us down to Florida from Ohio. A long drive by myself. And the 2-year-old Emery screamed for about the first 4 hours of the car ride. And I left at night so that he would sleep. I was like, all right, I'm going to leave at like 7 p.m. He'll pass out in the car. I'll make it halfway. I'll make it to Atlanta. We'll stop. And that didn't work. But I knew nothing about babies. So it was just like, we just learned as we went. It was really scary those first couple months. But we have gotten into a groove. Like we are, I don't know. It's so weird. It's so hard I could talk about this all day. We could do a whole podcast on this, but like to see Kyla go from being 35 pounds at 7 years old, like not extremely, but malnourished. Um, every meal was like crying. I want my mommy. I want to go home. I miss Ohio. Like just stuff that breaks your heart, because these kids' lives have also been turned upside down. Emery crying. Not he knows me, but he's never lived with me. All of a sudden, the man that was his father figure is gone. His lovey is gone. So they just went through a lot of trauma. And even though I was scared shitless, I realized like it was my job to step up and give them a safe, happy, healthy, secure environment. Like that's what they needed to thrive. So, I mean, with a lot of help, that's what I did. I mean, I was pretty persistent and, I never let Kyla, like, you can cry. It's okay to miss your mommy. It's okay to want to go home, but you still have to eat your eggs. Like, and Emery calls me, they both call me mom now. Just to see how they've blossomed and thrived in just a year. Like Kyla's 50 pounds. She eats everything but mushrooms too.
I heard she eats steak and eggs. I heard she eats steak and eggs with you.
She does. She's a little beast. She is. She used to be afraid of the water, like wouldn't even get her head wet in the shower. Now she's like doing front flips into the pool. Emery is like gonna give me a heart attack because he's a little daredevil. He'll just like walk into the pool and he has no idea what the depth is. So like he'll walk off the steps or he'll walk in the deep end and it's just like, oh, whatever. Just like she's got her best friend lives right next door and they have sleepovers and it's just been like a really amazing time in my life where it hasn't been all about me for the first time in my life. And it's almost like I didn't even know it, but it's made me even happier. I won't say happy. I would say it's brought me so much peace. Like happiness to me is a myth. Like this is not happiness is right now. Happiness is this moment right now. Like it's a choice. But it's brought me so much peace and just kind of changed my worldview. And I think as much as it's helped them, it's helped me too. It's made me a better person.
And for you, I'm curious as to, maybe the differences of what you first expected when taking on, obviously, this massive challenge and what the reality has been like, and if it's matched up to some of those expectations or some of those thoughts that you thought it would be.
I don't know what I expected. I think like probably like a rom-com or something where it was going to be like a lot of like, oh, we're going to go to the park and we're going to go to the zoo and we're going to like, it's going to be beautiful and we'll do all these fun things and you're going to love me and there's never going to be a mess or like, I was very unrealistic.
Yeah. So like the reality is I spend 50% of my time cleaning up messes. I am a single working mom, so I'm blessed, I guess, in a sense that I don't work a 9 to 5. Like I train, I mean, we have pro class, so that's kind of every day at the same time. But then my scheduling with my coaches, I've been able to work out where in my sparring and stuff, I've been able to work out where like I go when Emery naps and Kyla is in school and then we go to gymnastics and we have mommy and me gymnastics and we have tutoring and we have, physical therapy for Kyla. And so we've gotten into a rhythm where we have a routine, but we don't get to do a ton of like, by the time I get to Saturday, I'm like, I can barely walk. So I always want to like take them to the park or go to the zoo or like go to the museum. And I have a whole list. We have a whole list that we're trying to get through. But in all reality, usually we go to church and then we go to like Texas Roadhouse for lunch. And then maybe after nap, we'll go to the bookstore. And that's it.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram at felix.levine. And if you have something to say, please leave a comment.